Yo, man. Welcome to Know What You Ball with your host, Brian Payne. Hey, man. Week 2 ended up being a spectacular week. Bro, we saw a lot of road wins, but most importantly, bro, we had a lot of upsets take place. And a couple surprises, man. Some teams that we didn't think were capable of doing what they did. And, man, I can't wait to get into it. It's going to be a fun episode, man. We got some hot topics to go over. We're going to go over all of our games. We're going to go over the Kansas City Chiefs against the Cincinnati Bengals. Man, we got teams like the Cardinals doing their thing. Teams like the Saints laying down smackdowns. Hey, bro, this is going to be a really fun episode. But the first thing that we're going to get into is the hot topics. Hey, man, Tua Tagovailoa said that he plans on returning this season. We'll see how that goes, man. For those of you that do not quite understand how the concussion protocol works, he has to get cleared by the team doctors, get cleared by NFL doctors, and then to top it off, he has to get cleared by an independent neurosurgeon. Neurologist. Sorry. That's who he has to get cleared by. So we don't know how long this process is going to take. No two concussions are the same. Concussions are not a linear thing. So we have no clue how long it's going to be. What we do know for sure is that the Miami Dolphins have put Tua on injury reserve. So therefore, he's going to be out a minimum of 4 weeks. At minimum. So, man, with that being the case, man, we're about to see a lot of Skylar Thompson out there on the field. And we'll get into what I think that looks like on our Sunday morning episode when we get into our game previews. But, man, Tua, happy that you came to your decision. We're hoping nothing but the best for you. I'm hoping nothing like this happens again. I want you to be able to live a long, fulfilled life. So, hopefully, no more concussions take place, because I hate to see you lose 5 years in the future, 10 years, 15, 20 quality years that you could have had with your family. So, Tua, best of luck to you, brother. Praying for you. Get healthy. I'm going to be excited to see you come back. Hopefully you decide to wear the Guardian cap. I think that would be a big help to you, brother. But moving on now to a guy that is a possible replacement. A possible replacement. And, bro, that guy is Bryce Young. Bryce Young got benched. He got benched. That's hot. He got benched, man. And, I don't necessarily know how I feel about the benching itself. The benching itself, I kind of feel like it's premature. You invested a lot into him. But this also comes with the owner. The worst thing about this Carolina Panthers team is the owner himself. And I think Dave Tipper or something like that is his name. Let me run you guys a quick summary of this man's tenure as the owner of the Carolina Panthers. He started off with that trash Carolina, they're all trash, but that trash Carolina Panther team that had Baker Mayfield to start off the season. So they start off with Baker Mayfield. They shipped Baker Mayfield out. They play Sam Darnold. They have their head coach Matt Rule at the time. Actually, go before that, you had Cam Newton there, Paul Walker, Teddy Bridgewater. Like, he brought in Teddy. Teddy gets hurt. Paul Walker takes over. He's trash. You bring in Cam. Cam finishes out the year. He has that one game where we all got to see a glimpse of what Cam Newton used to be. I think scoring the rushing game-winning touchdown against the Arizona Cardinals, I believe. So you have that going, and then as soon as that's done, the very next year, you go get a Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. Acting like this isn't going to be a drama-filled locker room just off of that by itself. The media is going to make a big deal of that. You got the number 1 pick of his draft class and the number 2 pick of his draft class, both in the same draft class. So, man, that was going to cause a lot of tension. And for you to go ahead and go that route with Matt Rule, I believe was still the head coach at the time. It got ugly. It got ugly fast. You fire Matt Rule, you get rid of Baker, you start Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold has a few good games, actually. And Steve Wilkes, I believe, was the interim head coach, actually calls the Carolina Panthers to finish strong. And then you're like, no, don't want him. Let's go ahead and fire him and bring in Frank Wright. the guy that just got fired in Indianapolis. Let's go ahead and bring him in. And when we bring him in, we're going to trade everybody and their mama to go get Bryce Young from the Chicago Bears. You go get Bryce Young for Chicago Bears. You mortgage your entire future. You have nothing left. All you got left is a couple cockroaches in the building. That's all you got because you gave everything away. And then the next thing that you know, you go ahead and force Bryce Young to start playing when your team was not prepared at all for him to play. Now, mind you, this whole time, Frank Wright wanted C.J. Stroud. He didn't want Bryce Young, but the owner made him take Bryce Young because Bryce Young is a Heisman Trophy winner. He's the number one quarterback of his recruiting class. He's blah, 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 blah. He played for Alabama. He'd been with Nick Saban. Money. That's all that was, a money stunt. Now, I will say I have a boy in mind, man. He brought up this word to me because he's a Carolina Panther fan. That is SEC country down there. So with that being the case, they sell a lot of Bryce Young. So I'm not shocked, actually, after thinking about that they love Bryce Young. C.J. Stroud, Big Ten country. So up north, we're hollering about C.J. Down there, they're hollering about Bryce Young. So I could kind of understand that. But once again, that's money. You know the public is going to have a lot more love for Bryce Young immediately than what they're going to have for C.J. Stroud. So you make that draft pick based off of things outside of football. Now, moving forward from there, you force him to start. Then he gets hurt. Andy Dalton comes in. He fulfills the offense the way it's supposed to be ran. Bryce Young is inserted. Back down the drain. And it's unfortunate, man. And now what you do is at the before the season's even over, you fire Frank Wright. Okay, well, we fire Frank Wright. Now what do? We got another interim head coach. Okay, now we're going to hire another guy. Dave Cannibal. I can't pronounce his last name, from the OC from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last season. We're going to hire him. Do you guys see how messy this whole story was I just told you guys? And now we're shocked that Bryce Young doesn't look good at all. I was never the biggest Bryce Young guy. I'm going to keep it real. I think that his arm talent is average. I think that he's too small for the position. I think that his mobility in today's NFL is average. I think that he is a smart player. I do believe he's a smart player. Therefore, I think that he's the type of guy that needs to be on a team that is built around him. He can't be the focal point. He needs to be a part of a team, not the leader of the team. In Alabama, bro, you're down there with the KD Warriors. Nothing but 5 stars. Bro, Alabama is sending 5-star recruits to Kroger to work because they can't even get a job in the NFL because they didn't get no tick at Alabama. You talking about that level quality of guys that you playing with? And then we go here. To Carolina. Now, what I've seen from Bryce Young on the NFL level, he has regressed this season. He has regressed from the end of last year to this year. NFL level, I see a quarterback that's just broken. He lacks confidence. He has no confidence in himself. He has no confidence in his teammates. He does not believe that the coaching staff is behind him. I do believe that he still has a future in the league. I believe that he could be a version of a Sam Darnold right now, Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith type thing. I do believe he could be a version of that, but I believe that he has to get to the right situation. And ironically, I think a perfect situation would be the Miami Dolphins. Now, there's some salary cap reasons why that cannot happen. That cannot happen. Bryce Young's contract is fully guaranteed, so you're taking on all his money. You're already paying Tua, you're paying Tyreek, you're paying Jalen Ramsey, you're paying da-da-da-da-da-da. Miami has a roster full of guys getting paid. They cannot afford him. I get it. But there are teams out there that I believe that Bryce Young will be a great fit for. Honestly, I think that he'll be a better fit for the Denver Broncos than what Bo Nix is. I think that he is more talented than Bo Nix. And I think he could do everything that Sean Payton wants him to do. And I'm not saying that just because Sean Payton had a smaller quarterback with Drew Brees. I'm saying that because I really do believe that he fits his system. Bryce Young, he reminds me a lot of a guy like Teddy Bridgewater. A little bit more arm talent, but he reminds me a lot of Teddy Bridgewater. So get him in the right place, he may flourish there. A team like Minnesota, But Minnesota drafted J.J. McCarthy, so I doubt that will happen. But a team like Minnesota, I would like him there. So on and so forth. There are a few teams. I wouldn't mind him being an understudy under Matt Stafford with the Rams with Sean McVay. That would be a great fit. So there are places I think Bryce Young could go. I think Carolina should trade him. The longer you wait, the cheaper he's going to be. Look at Justin Fields, man. If you would have traded him at the time that they should have, talking about the Chicago Bears, they probably could have got a third or fourth round pick for him. Instead, you get a conditional 6th round pick for a quarterback that right now is the starter of a 2-0 football team. So that's what I would do. But, man, let's go ahead and move forward to our games. And we're just going to start off with this game because we just got done talking about them. We're going to start off with the Los Angeles Chargers at the Carolina Panthers. The final score of that game was 26-3. Bryce Young threw for less than 100 yards in this game, I believe. It was a very poor showing. Very poor showing for the Carolina Panthers. I really don't have much to talk about with this game. The only thing I will say is that we will find out if Justin Herbert is truly healthy. Hopefully he is. That was a nasty hit he took. He should have got the ball out of his hands. There was no sense of him staying in the pocket that long, especially when the gap of the lead became what it was. There was no sense of you risking your body. Get that ball out of bounds, man. Be aware of the game. Be aware of your situation. That was not worth the risk. But J.K. Dobbins, he's looking really good. Now, for those of you fantasy guys, I just want to let you guys know that J.K. Dobbins has still been out-touched in both games by Gus Edwards. They are not fully committing to J.K. Dobbins. And honestly, I don't really think that it's something that's long-term for your fantasy team. Play him against bad teams. Don't play him against. He's not a weekly starter. But the Chargers are showing a little bit of juice, I still got them only winning maybe 6-7 games max. That's it. But Jim Harbaugh is leaving his imprint on the team. I'm liking how that offensive line looks. They are now being very physical. The defense is as physical as well. So, Chargers, keep building on what you're building on. You're looking good. Continue doing that. Moving on to the next game, man, we got the Cleveland Browns at the Jacksonville Jaguars. The final score of this game was 18-10. Deshaun Watson, man, he was 22 of 34, 186 yards, no passing TDs, 20 rushing yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. He managed the game. That's what he did. He managed the game. And if you get that Deshaun Watson, especially once Nick Chubb comes back, if Nick Chubb is ready to rock and roll, they can make a little bit of noise because now you're just betting on your defense. That's what they did, man. That defense held Trevor Lawrence, I want to say 14 of 30 passing for less than 250 yards, and he was losing a lot of this game. So their game script was different. They had to pass the ball. And for you to still hold them to that, that's a good sign for your defense. Very, very good sign. So, man, it's Cleveland Browns, that was a nice bounce-back game for them. We'll see what they do this upcoming week, but that was a solid bounce-back game. Deshaun, you got to build on that. Moving on now to our next game, man, we got the Seattle Seahawks at the New England Patriots. The final score of that game was 23-20. Oh, man, Geno Smith had a day. He had a day. He went 33 of 44 for 327 yards and a touchdown. And man, what we got to see is something I've been waiting on for so long because they are a very talented wide receiver room. We saw DK go for 10 catches, 129 yards and a touchdown, and Jackson Smith and Jigba go for 12 catches and 117 yards. And this all happened without Kenny Walker. Let me tell you guys something about the Seattle Seahawks. The way that defense is looking, granted, they played against two teams that are subpar at best on offense. Actually, let's just keep it a buck. That are bad offenses. The New England Patriots is a bad offense. It is. They just know how to stay on schedule. They have a veteran presence at quarterback in Jacoby Brissett, so he knows how to manage a game. So you're not necessarily going to blow them out, especially with them having a good defense. But it's not a good offense. You're not really threatened by much. Then when you turn around and you look at the Denver Broncos with Bo Nix, they ain't doing nothing. They ain't got no run game. They ain't got nothing. So with that being the case, man, Seattle, we haven't seen their defense go against some top-tier guys. But I believe that their defense have elite DBs. And because of them elite DBs, that gives your pass rush a little bit more time. Their offense, on the other hand, I think that this offense, once they find their balance with Kenny Walker back there, I think this can be an elite offense in the league. When I say elite, I'm talking about top 10. I believe that it could be a top 10 offense in the league. They have a lot to worry about, man. You got DK Metcalf, a physical specimen. You got Jackson Smith and Jigba, a really good route runner that knows how to get to the place that he's supposed to get with the size to work the middle of the field. You got Tyler Lockett, an elite deep threat and a veteran that you could trust. You got Kenny Walker in the backfield. Your offensive line looks better than what it was the last couple years. So with that being the case, man, Seattle could be a team on the rise. The team on the rise, especially with the injuries that have taken place in the NFC West Conference. Moving on now to the next game, man. We got the New York Giants at the Washington Commanders. The final score of this game was 18 for the Giants, 21 for the Commanders. Straight field goals for the Commanders. No touchdowns. Let me tell you guys how the Giants ended up with 18 points. They didn't have a field goal kicker. The kicker came in questionable. The boy got hurt. The punter tried. He was trash. So they couldn't kick no more field goals. But, man, the Giants, one great thing that we saw was the Malik Neighbors go off for 10 catches, 127 yards, and a touchdown. That's a great showing for Malik Neighbors. He dominated a game that he should have dominated. The Washington Commanders are garbage on the back end. So for him to handle that, that's a good sign. And for the Commanders, you take this game from Jaden Daniels. You take it. It's just a solid game. 23 of 29, that's efficient. 226 and 10 carries for 44 yards. 10 carries is about the sweet spot. I think he should be rushing the ball. And now when you're saying that he's passing with the efficiency of 23 or 29, granted it was a lot of short yardage throws, but the point is that he did not put his team in harm's way. He is growing as a quarterback. And that was a good game for him because the New York Giants defensive line is really good. Do not listen to what people say about that New York Giants defense being trash. That defense is not as good as it could be because the offense is trash. Them boys are living on that field. But that defensive line with Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Brian Burns, that's an elite unit. That's an elite unit. And for Jaden Daniels to go for 23 for 29, I know he's getting rushed because their offensive line is not that good. I'll take that day. Brian Robinson also helped out, man. He's showing to be the clear number one running back of that offense, having 133 rushing yards in this game. Austin Eckler is a great sidekick to him. I like what the Commanders are building and what they're doing there. I just don't think that they have quite enough to be a true playoff contender this year. Moving on to our next game, man, we got the Steelers at the Denver Broncos. The final score of this game was 13-6. Man, there isn't a whole lot to talk about with this game. The Pittsburgh defense showed that they are elite. T.J. Watt is still that dude. Bo Nix threw 2 picks. He's looking like the second, third-round quarterback that he should have been. He should have never been a first-round quarterback. And the Steelers' offense is just the Steelers' offense, man. What I will say about this offense that I am encouraged by, they did open it up a little bit for Justin Fields. He had a good play down to George Pickens, but it got called back. I like what they're doing with Fields. They're working him through. They're building him up. They're building his confidence. Winning cures all, you guys. It cures all. So the Steelers, as long as you can continue building this young man's confidence while winning games, that's a great spot for you guys. I think he should be by far the starter for the Steelers going forward. I do not think it should even be a conversation about Russell Wilson. He cannot do the things that Justin Fields do. And honestly, I'm questioning how hurt Russell Wilson is. This is why I say that, man. I kind of feel like it's an excuse to get Justin Fields on the field. If Russell Wilson was really hurt, why is he dressed? It's been 2 weeks. He's been dressed both weeks, meaning that if something happened to Fields, you could sub him in. That's what that means. And if he could sub in, why can't he start? It's not rocket science, guys. They tell us the answers. The answers are right in front of our face. He is healthy. Justin Fields won that job during preseason. He won it. This is an excuse to try to make Russell Wilson not look bad. Now, that's a great thing for Mike Tomlin. He's trying his best to look out for a guy, and that's why he's a great players coach. He's a fantastic players coach. But Justin Fields is the guy. Justin Fields, he's looking good. And we will see how he continues building on with this opportunity that he has. Now, moving on to the games that we're going to really start getting into. The New Orleans Saints at the Dallas Cowboys. Woo-wee, bro. The final score of this game was 44-19. 44-19, man. We saw Derek Carr go for 11. He completed only 11 passes and threw for 243 yards, 2 touchdowns, and had a rushing touchdown. He did throw a pick. He got a little spicy out there. But man, he's having a heck of a day. And he had a heck of a day against the Carolina Panthers as well. That's why this game I should have put this in the must-watch games, because we should have tried to. We need to figure out what the New Orleans Saints are, and man, for them to go out there and dominate the Dallas Cowboys. Because see, to me, I've heard people in the media talk about the Dallas Cowboys should be a top 5 team last week, so on and so forth. They didn't show me enough for that. Deshaun Watson was the reason why they blew out the Cleveland Browns, not the Dallas Cowboys. And in this game right here, we saw what the Cowboys truly are. We saw that the New Orleans offense is a possible real offense. You had a great balance. You had Alvin Kamara with 20 carries for 115, 3 tutties on the ground, 2 catches, 65 yards, and a tutty in the air. And boy, that tutty on that screen pass, man, my boy was just glided on that grass. And I mean glided. It was so smooth. So smooth. It looked like my boy was ice skating. He wasn't even running fast. Man, they could not catch him, man. The offense looked spectacular for the New Orleans Saints. And the issue for the Dallas Cowboys is that they have not figured out their problems. Defensively, they have not figured them out. The New Orleans Saints ran the ball down their throat. You go back and watch that game, you see them boys are getting pushed back 5 yards, and I'm talking about all of them. Dexter Lawrence, Micah Parsons, all of them was getting pushed back. And man, the New Orleans Saints was running the inside zone great. I want to say it's the son of Gary Kubiak. I want to say that his name is Colt. He brought that system up to date. That's what happened. So now you're running this inside zone offense, and now when you're adding in the deep ball threats and things of that nature with the Rashid Shaheeds and Chris Olaves and so on and so forth, this offense is elite, guys. It is elite, and that Dallas defense did not have an answer. Dallas showed that they still are light in the butt cheeks at the defensive tackle spot. They show that they are still not physical at the linebacker spot. What I believe would have helped this game was actually moving Micah Parsons from defensive end to middle linebacker. They got to start utilizing him in games so he could be effective on all plays. This game didn't have much to do with Micah Parsons because honestly they just ran straight at him. They ran straight at the Dallas Cowboys. And when you do that, that takes Micah out the game. You could double Micah with a tight end and a tackle, and he's out to play. Or you could just straight up run away from him. He's not going to catch up to Alvin Kamara, and Kamara has a 5-6 yard head start. So these are flaws, major flaws from the Dallas Cowboys. They do not protect the weak side of the defense. They do not make sure that the defense is balanced according to the offensive formations. They are not doing a good job at all. And offensively, they show that they are a one-dimensional offense, as we already knew. These boys ran for a total of 68 yards in this game. That is awful. And I mean awful, you guys. Like, now Dak, you could say he had yards. And yes, he threw 1 touchdown and he threw 2 picks. But honestly, I can't even blame him on the picks, because he shouldn't have to throw the ball 39 times. If you give him a dang old running game, a balanced offense, things would have been better. And guess whose fault all of this is, you guys? It's all Jerry Jones' fault. All of it. If you just would have paid Dak, paid CD, pay Micah, your cap space goes from this to this. And now you could have brought in guys to fit your team and fit your system. Now you could have went out and signed a defensive tackle. You could have signed DJ Redder that ended up going to the Houston Texans. He's a run stopper. I'm sorry, he didn't go to the Texans, y'all. He went to the Detroit Lions. He's a run stopper. You could have made moves like that. But because you didn't handle your cap space and your salary cap correctly at all, This is what you get. This is what you get. You could have maybe went out and got a running back. Maybe you could have just retained Tony Pollard. Because I would have loved a Tony Pollard and Zeke combination again. That would have worked. Zeke and Dinwiddie, or whatever his name is, he ain't worth really talking about. And Dalvin Cook. That's what we rolling out here? And Deuce Vaughn? Like, come on, you guys. That's not going to work. Dallas Cowboys have some soul searching to do. And it looks like I'm going to be right on their prediction. I got them. I think I want to say I had them going 9-8 this year. Look like they might be lucky to go that route. Because if the Eagles get their stuff together, the Eagles will go 2-0 against them. Because the Eagles can do one thing, and that's run that football. Moving on now to our next game. We got the Indianapolis Colts at the Green Bay Packers. This game wasn't a must-see game. This is a I told you so game. And the reason why I say it's an I told you so game is because I told you guys, man, don't fall for that performance that we saw from Anthony Richardson against the Houston Texans. He only completed 9 passes, you guys, and we already went into all that last week. So let's focus on this week, bro. They lose this game 10-16. 10-16, they lost this game. Anthony Richardson was 17-34, 50% completion percentage. That is not good. 204 yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 picks. Possession time. Let's start off there, because I made a big deal of that last week. The Colts possessed the ball for 19 minutes and 49 seconds. That means the Packers had the ball for 40 minutes and 11 seconds. Just imagine if that was 50-50. You would have more cracks at the apple to score points. The Packers had the ball for 40 minutes and only scored 16 points. Imagine how many points y'all would have scored if you had the ball for 30 minutes instead of 19 and 49. This was the lowest amount of minutes that a team had the ball in the NFL this week by 4 minutes. That's a long time, you guys. So I'm telling you guys that the Carolina Panthers had the ball longer than the Indianapolis Colts. I'm telling you that trash offenses, trash teams, maintain possessions longer than Indianapolis Colts. That's not good, guys. That is not good. That's not good. The Colts have major flaws, and their biggest flaw is Anthony Richardson. Like I said before, he has talent. He has talent, and I'm actually okay with you working and building with him. Work on it, build him up. He's a really, really talented guy. I'm just saying, for all the masses, pump the brakes. Pump him. He is not that guy yet. We are still waiting to see what he is. So let's calm the noise. Let him develop. He has a lot of developing to do. The Colts are not a playoff team this year. They will not be. Let him grow. That's all I want to say about that game. The good side of it for the Packers, real quick. They maintain possession of the ball. They won a game without Jordan Love being there. That's a big deal. Malik Willis did not lose them the game. We saw Josh Jacobs run for like $150 on the Indianapolis Colts, so that's a great sign. I don't know really how much to take from that, because the Indianapolis Colts shown that they are a terrible rushing defense. We saw Joe Mixon go for $130 on them, and then the next week against the Bears, he gets 30 yards. Take what you want from it. So maybe we're looking at the worst rushing defense in the NFL with the Indianapolis Colts. So with the Green Bay Packers, good win. It looks like Jordan Love will probably be back this week, and we can start getting back to judging the Green Bay Packers on the scale that they should be judged on. Now, man, we're going to move on to the next surprise game that we had. Boy, was this a surprise, man. We had the Los Angeles Rams at the Arizona Cardinals, man. The final score of this game was 10 for the Los Angeles Rams, 41 of them things for the Arizona Cardinals, man. We saw Kyler Murray have a field day along with that Arizona offense. Kyler Murray, bro, let's go over these stat lines real quick. Kyler Murray was 17-21, 266, 3 touchdowns, and 59 on the ground. James Conner went for 21 carries, 122 and a tutty. And Marvin Harrison Jr., for a guy that that it's not my job to target, he showed you why you should make it your damn job to target me. He said, hey, I'm going to just go ahead and go for a measly 4 catches. But in them 4 catches, hey, I'm going to make my presence felt. I'm going to go for a $130 and 2 tutties. Keyshawn Johnson said, throw me the damn ball. But, man, looking at this Cardinals offense, man, their offensive line is holding up very steady. They performed very well against the Bills. We saw the Bills dominate the Dolphins defensively. And they performed well against the Bills. The offense scored 21 points against them. Then you talking about against the Rams. We saw the Rams hold the Detroit Lions, I want to say, to 26 points. And that took overtime to get 26 points. So that Rams defense wasn't necessarily an overly flawed defense up front. And for them to still hold up the offensive line, man, that's a good sign for them. A really good sign. Kyler Murray is back, you guys. He is fully healthy. He is the dog that we all know that he was before. We'll find out how far he could get to. But, man, early season Kyler Murray is a special guy. He is a special guy. Marvin Harrison's shown that he could get behind the defense. That's a big thing I needed to see from him, me personally. I knew Malik Neighbors had that ability. You see the athleticism. You see all of that. I needed to see that big playability from Marvin Harrison. I was trying to figure out, was he like an Antoine Bolden type? Or is he an all-around wide receiver? And in that game, he was an all-around wide receiver. So, man, we will see how that continues to grow. We will see how the marriage between Kyler Murray and him continues to flourish. Hopefully it becomes the marriage that he had with D-Hop. Because when he had that marriage with D-Hop, man, when they were both healthy and out there on the field, it was a good-looking offense. So hopefully they can get back to that. James Conner is still doing his thing there, steady Eddie. So, yeah, I love what I'm seeing from them. And defensively, they went out there and dominated the Rams. They treated the Rams like the Rams deserved to be treated. Because once you talk about Cooper Kupp gets hurt, you still ain't got no left tackle. You don't have Puka Nacua. You don't have this. You don't have that. Everybody and their mama hurt in the offense but Kyron Williams and Matt Stafford. They ain't supposed to score more than 10 points. So you deserve credit because you did your job. Buda Baker is out there flying around, hitting everything moving. Boy, that boy is reckless. He don't care about his body whatsoever. But so, man, the Arizona Cardinals, man, you guys have a great upswing going. You and the Seahawks right now, due to health, that's it. You guys look like y'all got a real shot for the playoffs in this division. A real shot. Moving on now to the next game, man, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Detroit Lions. The final score of this game was 20 for the Buccaneers, 16 for the Lions. This game it's not a shock to me that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won this game. It's shocking how they won this game. And the reason why it's shocking how they won this game, bro, we had Aiden Hutchinson control the defensive front. He had 5 sacks, 3 in the first half. He went crazy. They stopped the run just like I told you guys that they would. And Baker Mayfield threw at least 1 interception, I believe. So, all those things happening, that should have been a recipe for the Detroit Lions to win. And the Bucs only scored 20 points. Let me tell you how they lost. They lost because they lost who they were. That's why they lost. These boys threw the ball 55 times. And that's not talking about the sacks. Jared Goff was 34 of 55, 307, and 2 interceptions. They're not built for that. If Jared Goff throws that ball more than 30 times in a game, I guarantee you there's a good chance they lost that game. They're built for running. And what I do not understand is that they were running the ball well. And then when Vita Vea gets hurt and the other defensive tackle for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers get hurt, you got full reign to just run it down their throat. And y'all just kept passing? Make it make sense. So for the Detroit Lions, y'all need to get back to who you were. Stop trying to be sexy, bro. Y'all ain't got to be the top team in the league by having a top flight offense. Be who you are. You guys went the total opposite of what you guys did in that overtime against the Rams. Against the Rams in overtime, y'all put your head down and say, hey, we know what our bread and butter is. Stop us. But in this game, y'all was just like, oh, we can throw. No, you can't. That is not y'all's game. Jared Goff should be throwing no more than 26 passes in a game. That's it. Completing about 18, 19 of those passes, and that's all y'all need. Y'all need Amon-Ra St. Brown to catch about 6 to 7 of them, and then you need Jameson Williams to catch about 4, Sam Laporta to get about 4, and then however the rest is divvied up, that's how it's divvied up. But that's what you guys should be focused on. Now, I did like the defense. I liked what the defense did in that game. The offense failed the Detroit Lions in that football game. I can't really tell you what Tampa Bay did to make it happen because it's just the Lions did not do what they were good at. It's just that plain and simple sometimes. Not everything is a confusing answer. But that's the end of that game. Moving on now to the Las Vegas Raiders at the Baltimore Ravens. The final score of this game was 26-23. The Raiders winning this game. This is a horrendous loss for the Baltimore Ravens, and this puts them behind the 8 ball. Actually, I can't really say that. I want to say that it puts them behind the 8 ball because that's a really, really bad loss. But maybe it didn't. I mean, the Bengals lost to the New England Patriots. So you got 2 teams at 0-2. Then you got the Browns at 1-1 with that terrible loss against the Cowboys. And the Steelers are 2-0. But this is the easiest schedule that I'm looking at for the first 8 weeks. 8-9 weeks of their season. After that, that's when they go through a hard place. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they could easily lose 6 of their final 8 games. I wouldn't be shocked. So, like, the Baltimore Ravens still got a great shot, so let's not panic on them. But I will say they have to commit to who they need to be, not who they want to be. Right now, man, they're wanting to be a passing team. They're wanting to be a passing team, but their offensive line isn't built for that. That's not what they're good at. Now, also, their offensive line isn't necessarily good at power run blocking either. What they're good at is zone blocking, I noticed. In that game, I wanted to figure out why is Derrick Henry not doing what I believe he should be doing in that offense. You're not getting prime D-Hen. That's long gone. I'm not saying D-Hen should be going for $180. I'm not saying that. But what D-Hen can do, he could give you $110 on the ground off of 22, 25 carries, averaging about 4 yards a carry. He could do that. And he could give you a touchdown every week. I do believe he's going to pretty much score every week. Because that is a good offense still. They're too talented not to score. But what I know is that the marriage of the two between that offensive line and D-Hen is the outside zone. They were in the outside zone very, 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 very well. I think they need to commit to that. Outside zone, inside zone run game. Commit to that. And then you could build on that as the season goes. They need to simplify this offense. Right now, man, they're trying to run pistols. They're trying to run mesh routes. They're trying to run all these different route combinations. Now you're being forced to take D-Hen out and put Justice Hill in, and it's very predictable. I know when you're going to pass. I know when you're going to run. The part that I don't understand about it is a lot of times when they pass, they do like to go play action. But your play action is just Justice Hill. I'm not worried about him. Now, why don't we leave Derrick Henry in? Play action to Derrick Henry. He is good in pass pro. So why don't we just go that route? I think that would be a far better solution than taking him out every other play. Than taking him out for what feels like a damn near a whole series at a time. I believe that they're trying to save him for the home stretch, but they need to let him play now. Derrick Henry is a guy that gets stronger the longer he plays. Let him play and let the chips lay where they lay. This guy's on a 1-year contract for you guys. Run him in the dirt. That's what you could do. I think that they need to commit to him. I think that they need to shift their offense from relying on Lamar and growing his passing game to going back to what they did with Mark Ingram and them. A good bit of it. They need a good marriage of this system and that system, the great Roman system. Then that'll be a perfect marriage to allow Derrick Henry to be something more than Gus Edwards, because right now he's just a glorified Gus Edwards. You need him to be Derrick Henry. That will also give your defense more time. Defensively, I don't know what the hell is going on with them. Defensively, I mean, they did lose their defensive coordinator, so maybe that's what it is, and maybe they have a lot of things to figure out with that. But they have zero pass rush. I think they're going to have to start committing to blitzing because you have to get a pass rush, and you're just going to have to deal with them guys being one-on-one, mano-mano. So with that being the case, that's what I think they should be doing. And right now in their division, I think that would be a good route to go. Against the Pittsburgh Steelers, you get to put Marlon Humphrey on George Pickens. And then against the Cincinnati Bengals, you put him on Chase. Against the Browns, you really ain't got to worry about the pass against the Browns. So with that being the case, man, that's the route I would go. They need to start devoting themselves to being a blitz-heavy team. For the Raiders, good win, man. Way not to quit. Way to fight. Way to fight. They made plays when it was time to make plays. The two superstars did what they were supposed to do when superstars are asked to show up and make plays. Max Crosby and Devontae Adams did their thing. Max Crosby showed that he is a top 5 defensive player in this league. And Devontae Adams showing that, hey, I'm still a top 5 receiver. Don't forget about me. So, man, good win for the Las Vegas Raiders. I can't really tell you guys a lot about them because what they did is just effort. And that's something that Antonio Pierce is going to bring to that team. If he has more talent, he will be a good coach in this league. Moving on now to our next game, man. We got the San Francisco 49ers at the Minnesota Vikings. It was another upset, man. The final score of this game was 17-23. We got to start respecting the Vikings defense. The offense made enough plays. That's all they did. They made enough plays. But that defense, that's a real defense, man. We got to give Brian Flores his flowers. That defense is a really good defense. They've shown that they did not actually need Daniel Hunter, which is crazy because he's a Pro Bowler. That's a good defense. That's a really good defense. And maybe it's just that he understands how to stop the Shanahan offense. Because Brock Purdy was not as efficient as I would like him to be. They were 2 of 10 on third downs, the Niners were, and that's why they lost this game. And also in this game, we realized, man, that they're still dropping like flies over there. They just lost Deebo Samuel for a few weeks. You're already out Christian McCaffrey for at least 3 more weeks. I've seen reports saying that he could mess around and be out until week 8, week 9. It's an issue where it could just be strained at any given moment. So with that being the case, man, the Niners are finding themselves in a really, really tough spot. Brandon Ayuk still doesn't have his footing under him yet. He's still working his way back into football shape. Not in terms of he's tired, his conditioning is bad. In terms of the physicality, in terms of the timing, in terms of those type of things, that's what he's working himself to get into. So the Niners right now are going through a tough spill. The Niners, I do think they will eventually get it together. Jordan Mason is looking great. The offensive line still does not look bad to me. They still look solid against the Minnesota Vikings, and they are really good at running the football still. The game script flipped. Once Justin Jefferson broke off that 97-yard touchdown, the game script flipped. Sorry about that, you guys. And because it flipped, you could not focus on your run game no more. And that's what happened in that game. The Niners are still one of the best teams in the league, but they got to get healthy. Moving on now to the next game, man. We got the New York Jets at the Tennessee Titans. The New York Jets may have found an identity, and that's to run the football. It's not what all of us would love to see, man. We all would love to see Aaron Rodgers out here airing that thing out, throwing all over the place to Garrett Wilson and treating Garrett Wilson like he was Devontae Adams. But they're better at running. The Titans is a good run-stopping defense. And once they brought in L'Jarius Sneed, that became a good, average pass defense. And for Breece Hall and Braylon Allen to have a lot of control over that game from the running back position, that's a big deal. And I think that they should lean into that. Because then as they lean into that, that'll open up the play-action game, which I believe that will open up Garrett Wilson the most. That's the next step. But see, unlike the Ravens, I love what they're doing. They're trying to build this in steps. This offense will grow week to week to week to week to week to week to week. I don't necessarily think they'll ever get to being a top 10 offense, but they will be a top 15 offense. And with that defense at their full potential, that's all they need. Now, the Jets got to get that defense healthy. They got to get it healthy. And I'm going to keep it real. Will Levis helped this game out. Bro, that play he made was one of the dumbest plays I've seen. But also, just to give him credit, he is the guy that I was saying where it's just like he could be really bad or he could look really good. He had a lot of good runs out there. He had some good throws out there. In my personal opinion, he looked better than Anthony Richardson. And if we're saying Anthony Richardson has a future in this league, Will Levis, he has a future in this league. It's just Will Levis's plays are ugly when he messes up. They are ugly. They are Sports Center, not top 10 ugly. Anthony Richardson threw 3 picks. He wasn't flipping upside down trying to do a scoop pass to somebody. So, it doesn't stick out as much. But Will Levis, man, he has talent. He does have talent. I just don't know if he could get that adrenaline rush out of him where he makes those very, very bad plays. This 2 weeks in a row, you guys, that they lost because of him making one terrible play. Moving on now to the next game, man, we got the Chicago Bears at the Houston Texans. The final score of this game was 13-19. Houston Texans with the dub. The Texans, the biggest thing I found in this game was that the Texans found their pecking order. When I say that, I mean, it's all about their passing offense. They figured out how they want to attack. Nico's number 1, Diggs is number 2, Tank is number 3. And I believe that's what it should have always been. And Dalton Schultz is the safety net outside of Stephon Diggs. I think that's the best route that they could go. And with them going this way, I think this will build up to be an elite offense. Letting Stephon Diggs work the inside of the field, I think that's where his career is at now. He's going to be great at that. He's going to be great. Letting Tank Dell work the deep side, that's going to be fantastic. And letting Nico be the wide receiver that goes back and forth, work in the middle of the field, I think it's going to be great. I will be sure that I'm putting Nico and Tank Dell on the same side. That's what I'll be sure I'm doing. I want to put that safety in conflict. He has to pick one. Because if he dives short to get Nico in the deep dig, I have Tank Dell for a tutty. Easy tutty. Easy tutty. And vice versa. If he goes deep to Tank Dell, Nico Collins, he'll make that deep dig turn to a deep post route. And now he's off to the races. So that's what I would do if I was them. But I love that they found that. Their pass blocking is still solid. Their running game, we got to see a little bit closer to what it truly is. That Indianapolis game is an outlier. This game is more what it is. Now flipping over to the Chicago Bears side. Caleb Williams and co. Boy, listen. The only thing I want to say is this. A lot of people say this is the best situation that number 1 pick's ever walked into. I beg to differ. It was the prettiest position that they walked into. That's what I would say. Picking up Keenan Allen, picking up DJ Moore, picking up Roma Dunze, having Cole Kmet, picking up DeAndre Swift. It's pretty. It's pretty. But that offensive line is garbage. Garbage. My only beef is this. Let me tell you guys something about Caleb Williams. He made strides this week. He did not look as bad as he looked the week before. His passes were a lot closer to being on time, but the boy was running for his life out there. So I'm going to cut him some slack this week. We're not going to dig too much into him because he played a lot better. He improved. That offensive line is god-awful, man. And that's the reason why I always was saying I wouldn't have drafted Caleb Fields. I just would have kept Justin Fields. I would have traded the pick, gained more picks. So you have more things to build up on that roster. You are not ready for Caleb Williams. And now he's looking exactly like Justin Fields. looking just like him. The only difference is he throws the ball a little prettier and Justin Fields runs a little better. That's the difference. That's the difference. And with that being the case, man, I do not think that they necessarily took a step forward. Now with Justin Fields, hey, you guys, they still finished 7-10 because that defense is a real defense. They have a really, really good defense. So I still got the Bears finishing. I want to say I had them finish at 8-9. I'm sticking to that. I am going to stick to that. But they need to figure out the inside of the offensive line because they're going to get Caleb Williams killed out there. That is not good by them. That's their problem, the inside very specifically. The tackles aren't too bad. That inside is awful. So when you guys watch those games, look at that inside. And Caleb, you got to get the ball out of your hands. Hey, bro, if y'all got to run screens, if y'all got to run quick slants, you got DJ Moore. He could run a quick slant. You got Keenan Allen. He could do that. If y'all got to run short passing concepts just to get the ball at your hand, y'all got to go that route because these deep concepts is not going to happen because you don't have the time. You do not have the time. Moving on now to our next game, man. We're going to go to the Atlanta Falcons at the Philadelphia Eagles. The final score of this game was 22-21 Atlanta. Atlanta pulled out the dub. Man, the Philadelphia Eagles, we're going to start on their side. I did not like the play call. I thought the play calling was awful. It's very simple why I thought it was awful. In that first half, I saw gaps. I mean gaps for Saquon to run through. And it just felt like Kellen Moore being Kellen Moore. I don't care how many yards Saquon get. I don't care how efficient he looks. I don't care what it looks like. I'm going to throw the ball. And that's what they kept trying to do. And with that, you mess up the rhythm of the game. You mess up your offensive linemen. I mean, they didn't necessarily give up sacks or anything, but like it's messing up the flow. You're not sticking to what you should have stuck to. And if you are sticking to running the ball, guess what? The time is clicking. But when you're passing and then you have this incompletion and so on and so forth, like I can't believe that you still didn't commit to the run even with A.J. Brown out. What more has to happen for you to commit to the run? Commit to it. Be about it, bro. Your best player in your offense is Saquon. Give him the damn ball. Now, Saquon, hey, you got to catch that ball. You got to catch that ball. And just to talk about that play real quick, I am fine with the play. I've seen a lot of people trying to critique that. I am more than fine with the play. The play worked. It worked. Saquon dropped it. If he catches it and gets the first down, nobody complains. But we're going to complain just because he dropped it? We can't play both sides. We can't play both sides. I love the play call. I love the play design. The play was there. He should have got it. I'm okay with the field goal kick. I'm talking about the Eagles kicking the field goal there instead of going for it. Because your defense played very well all night. The Falcons only scored, 15 points all night? So I'm okay with that. Now, I wasn't mad at that at all. But now to flip it to the other side, the Falcons did win the game. The Falcons in that second half did slow up Jalen Hurts. They did slow up the run game a little bit. They made plays when they needed to make plays. Jesse Bates came through clutch on a few plays. Just like I told you guys, Justin Simmons, I forget who he tackled, but I mean, he just straight up yanked this man by one arm to make a play for a TFL, tackle for loss. Like, those safeties took control. And then Grady Jarrett and that defensive line gained confidence, and Matt Judon, and they started hitting. Now, their middle linebacker situation, he was shaky. But kind of find out he's about the third string linebacker, so I'm going to cut him some grace. He ain't supposed to be out there. He out there from need, not necessity. I mean, he's out there because of necessity. So, with that being the case, man, A.J. Terrell, he did not play bad. I thought that he did a pretty solid job against Devontae Smith. I liked what the defense looked like. I loved that the Falcons had a better rhythm on the offense. I love the play calling a lot better. I love the formations that they were in a lot better. It looked like Kirk Cousins was far more comfortable. My only beef with the Atlanta Falcons offense, they got to manage Bijan a little better. And this is what I mean. There was so many drives when Bijan ran the ball, and was Very effective. And then you took him out, and Algier had to close out that drive. And now you can't put Bijan in on third down to get the third down. So now you're kicking a field goal. That's bothering me. Maybe if you see Bijan break off 2 8-yard runs, take him out then. Let Algier get a couple carries in. Bring Bijan back so that he can finish off the drive strong. You want to start it strong and end it strong. You can figure out the middle. Maybe in the middle you run one play with Algier and then you do a play action boot with from Kirk Cousins going to Kyle Pitts or Drake London. Things like that. That's why I think that they need to work on. But it's a new offense. It's a new system. It's a new coaching staff. They are figuring out these players as they go. But this was a great step for them. Great comeback for Kirk Cousins. Way to seal the game. I mean, he attacked the ball deep. Now, I will tell you guys that this is kind of skewed. A little skewed for the passing offense. This is why. The Eagles went to prevent defense. So there's a lot more gaps that Kirk Cousins could attack. I think the Eagles were stupid for going to prevent defense. There was a lot of time, and the Falcons had timeouts left. They did not have any timeouts left, but there was just a lot of time left. There was no need for you going to prevent defense. But that's what they chose to do. Do your thing. Oh, no, they had one timeout. Falcons had one timeout left. So with that being the case, man, that's what I would have did. I mean, that's how they got down the field so quickly. But at some point, Eagles, y'all got to man up. And when they did, Drake London cooked Darius Slay. Darius Slay had his eyes in the backfield. Drake London hit with a fake post. A fake inside slant to a corner route. And it ended up being a great route. Great ball. Easy catch. Easy dub. That next play for the Eagles, Hurts throwing that interception. I don't know what the hell he was doing, so I ain't going to get into that. But that was a great game by Kirk Cousins. A great final drive by Kirk Cousins. Great building block for this offense. Because without that, we'll be hearing a lot of noise about Michael Penix. We would have heard a lot of noise about him. And I'm happy that it happened. I do not think Penix is quite ready yet. But I am happy to see that Kirk Cousins looks healthy. He looks normal. He looks back to himself. The offense fit better. What I kind of figured out what happened was the coaching staff got too cute against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were talking about we was trying to make an offense where we can eliminate T.J. Watt when y'all damn sure didn't do that. So good job getting back to what you guys know, running the offense correctly, running the ball. Your offensive line is built for that, and y'all did it, and that allowed your offense to have a schedule. So with that being the case, great job by the Atlanta Falcons. Keep building on that game. Moving on now to the final game, that ended up being the game of the week. The Cincinnati Bengals at the Kansas City Chiefs. The final score is 25-26 Kansas City. Okay, first thing we're going to talk about, man. Let's talk about Patrick Mahomes first, man. Patrick Mahomes was god-awful. God-awful. He was terrible in this game, and he's bad every time he plays against the Cincinnati Bengals, in my opinion. I personally think that this team, is the only team where the pressure gets to Patrick, which is crazy, bro. We're talking about a 4-time Super Bowl appearance guy, a 3-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time league MVP. He's seen so many moments. He's made it to an AFC championship game at minimum every year of his career. But I think it happens because, he knows Joe Burrow could beat him. He knows it. He doesn't think Josh Allen could beat him. He doesn't think Lamar could beat him. He don't think C.J. Stroud could beat him. He don't think Justin Herbert could beat him. But he knows Joe can. It's just like when you play against your big brother or little brother, play against your sibling in a competition. The energy's different. It's different. And even though you know in your heart that you are a better three-point shooter than your brother, but when you play him, you want it so bad that you just can't make a three now. That's kind of what it is for the Patrick Mahomes against the Bengals. And I say against the Bengals too because it's not just like with Joe Burrow. It's Patrick Mahomes against that defensive coordinator for the Bengals. That defensive coordinator has his number. I used to think it was the safeties that caused this effect. But then Jesse Bates is gone. And Von Bell was gone. And last year, the Chiefs didn't play great against the Bengals. And Joe Burrow was out. There's one common denominator, and that's him, the defensive coordinator. He runs a lot of too high, cover two. He keeps the safeties deep. He keeps them back. He has a great understanding of where to place his linebackers in the zone defense. They get deep enough to where a guy like Travis Kelce or Rashee Rice can't get behind them. But they're close enough to where if Mahomes throws that short pass, they could close like that. And then the biggest thing they got going for them, the Chiefs cannot block Trey Hendricks. We never been able to do it. We still can't do it. And that man dominated the game. Dominated the game. Cameron Britt, you got cooked against Rashee Rice. I'll give you this. You weren't talking trash about Rashee Rice. You were talking trash about Xavier Worthy. And when Patrick Mahomes attacked you, respect. The Chiefs won that game because they just know how to win. That's all it is. They just know how to win. For the Bengals, they play to the level of their opponent. I do not think that they are as good as the Chiefs right now. I also do not think they are as bad as the New England Patriots. I think that they are a top 10, 12 team in the league. Closer to the 9, 10, 11, 12 range right now. But they know how to play up to the competition. And with that being the case, they hung in this game. They've seen each other a lot, so they knew what they wanted to do and knew how they wanted to attack. Joe Burrow did a fantastic job utilizing his tight ends. He played a great game. Just the Chiefs' defense held up very strong. Very strong. Forced Joe Burrow the fumble. They took one to the crib for us. The defense did. Then Trent McDuffie, he locked down Jamar Chase. Y'all want to know what that whole spill with him and McDuffie was about? So Jamar Chase thought that he got horse collar tackle, which now is illegal in the NFL. McDuffie never dropped. He never fell. So therefore it was never, I said horse collar, hip drop tackle. He never fell. So therefore it can't be hip drop. He just manhandled Chase. Now I am a Jamar Chase fan. Jamar Chase got manhandled and he was ticked off. But let me tell you the real reason why he was ticked off. He was ticked off because that was his fourth catch for only 35 yards for the whole game. He was mad that he was not making plays. That's what he was mad about. But Trent McDuffie, he's an all-pro corner. All-pro. He's a stud out there. So with that being the case, man, the defense of the Chiefs, that definitely won the game for the Chiefs. Now let's go ahead and get to the call because I know a lot of you want to get into that, want to know about that. It was the right call. A couple years ago when the Bengals played against the Chiefs in the playoffs, and you want to talk to me about like the call when the defender pushed Patrick Mahomes out of bounds, we could have a conversation about that. I would still say the Bengals player was stupid. I think it should have been called? No, but the Bengals player was stupid. You know that's going to get called. Like, leave him alone. Let him run out of bounds. That's your fault. This one, bro, man, listen. They had the game won. You hype. You feeling good. This is the last play. I see that ball in the air. I knock it down. Game's over. I'm ready to go get it. And that's what he did. He did not even pay attention to Rashee Rice being underneath him. It was a plain as day defensive pass interference. It looked like the ref hesitated because you see the flag come in late. But if you actually watch that referee, you see his hand motion getting his flag as soon as the play takes place. So he did not throw it away. He did not wait to see what happened. But it was a great call. It was a great call. And Harrison Buckner did what he does. Kicked the 51-yard field goal to win the game. This was a great football game. Great scheme on both sides defensively. The Chiefs have a lot of work to do. Now losing Isaiah Pacheco, the offense is going to be different. And I actually think that's going to help the Chiefs because that's going to have to push them to become better pass blockers with better passing offense. So then when Pac comes back, now we'll be far more balanced in our attack. So this game, though, was a great game. The Bengals showing that they still have that dog. Burrow is healthy. He can still do what he does. Jamar Chase, you good, bro. You good. You still a dog. You still a dog. I know there's a lot of frustrating things going on right now, but, brother, you still a beast. You still can make plays. Don't worry about it, Bengal fans. Y'all will be in the playoffs. Y'all have a really good roster. Y'all will be there. So, man, that's the end of our games for this week. That's the end of our game review. Let me go and give y'all my performances of the week, man. First of all, I want to give a team a lot of love. I want to give the New Orleans Saints a lot of love, man. That team was legit. That team was legit. And right now, they're looking like the best team in the NFC. That's what they look like right now. So I want to give them a lot of love. That was a great team performance. Moving on now to individual performances. The best offensive player this week, in my personal opinion, was Kyler Murray. That man was dominant. He was dominant. He was attacking all three levels of the field. He was making smart decisions. He wasn't turning the ball over. He was getting the run game going, got his teammates greatly involved. He did his thing this week. There's nowhere that I felt like he failed. Moving on now to the defensive side of the ball. Unfortunately, his team lost, but Aiden Hutchinson was the defensive player of the week by far to me. My man had 5 sacks in this game. I'm sorry, I take that back. I won't say by far because Mason Crosby and obviously TJ Watt are dogs. But Aiden Hutchinson, this was your week, bro. Unfortunately, you can't really celebrate it like that because y'all lost. But Aiden Hutchinson, you have grown into an elite pass rusher in this league. I was hoping you would get there because I did like you coming out of Michigan. I was a little worried about your raw athleticism getting you there. But, bro, you're there and you are in the DPOY discussion for the season in my book. So, man, those are our performances of the week. The last thing that we're going to do, man, I'm going to give y'all my top 5 teams as of week 2. Now, this could change week to week. Right now, I'm mainly focused on undefeated teams right now because we still got I want to say 7 left, something like that. So I want to give those teams their credit and their love. You beat them, you should be above them. It's just not plain and simple. The number 5 team to me right now is the Minnesota Vikings, man. They went against a tough team in the San Francisco 49ers who won that game. I know week 1 they played against the Giants, but they beat what a lot of people, some people thought was the best team in the league in San Francisco. So I got them at number 5. Number 4, I actually got the Arizona Cardinals. I know that they lost a game, but they lost a game to Buffalo. And they were in that game. And I can't quite put Minnesota ahead of Arizona because of the fact that they beat the Giants week 1. They're the Giants. So, this is my one team I got in here that did lose a game, but I'm just very, very impressed with them and what they put together so far this year. Moving on now to number 3, the Buffalo Bills. I got the Buffalo Bills 3 because, man, I have to. I mean, week 1, they play against the Arizona Cardinals, who's shown that they have a high-powered offense. And for Josh Allen to rise to that occasion to make sure that they could win that game 31-28 and then turn around and play against the Miami Dolphins and dominate that game. Got to give them their flowers. Got to give them their love. They are the 3rd best team in the league as of week 2. My number 2 team is the New Orleans Saints. It has to be. I mean, granted, they played against Appalachian State week 1, a.k.a. Carolina Panthers. This week, they played against the Dallas Cowboys, but both weeks, they dominated. And that level of domination, bro, you got to put them up there. And just also the way they look, that offense is fluid, it flows, it works, it's good. The defense is playing very good football. So with that being the case, they are number 2. My number 1 team is still the Kansas City Chiefs. Hey, you're the champions too, you ain't the champions no more. You won the Super Bowl, you are 2-0, you beat the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals. You've had the toughest 2-game stretch to me in the NFL, and you accomplished both of them on a great level. On a good level, winning 2 clutch games. So I got them at number 1. So, hey, you guys, man, that's the end of this episode of Knowing True Ball. Please like, share, subscribe. Help us grow our community. Hit me up in the comment box so we can go and chat it up. Check me out Sunday morning, 9 a.m. again. We're going to go over the bets of the week, the games of the week, and the game previews of week number 3. Hey, y'all, it's been a fun football season so far. Let's keep the energy going. Hey, you guys, this is Knowing True Ball with your host, Brian Payne. Peace.